What's poppin' YouTube? Welcome back. We're here with more Wendigoon. This is the part 2 of the most terrifying ocean mysteries, which usually means cracking stuff. But we're gonna jump straight into it. Before we get started, you know the vibes, the like button, subscribe button, leave a comment down below to feed the algorithm, quads. Wendigoon and I have the exact same phobia, so I feel very relatable to him for this, and I appreciate what he's doing, because instead of showing a bunch of scary ass images and things that will horrify me, he doesn't do that so far. Well, he hasn't done it yet, so I'm gonna hope he continues not to. And yeah, link to his original video will be in the description below. Check it out, support that channel, and while you're here, support me too. Don't forget that like button. Let's get it.
That sounds pretty creepy. I guess I'll just stay on land where I'm safe. But see, that's how the ocean gets you. And to prove that there is no safety from the most disturbing thing in the entire planet, look no further than the Flannan Isles lighthouse mystery. Off the west coast of Scotland, there is a series of small islands known as the Flannan Isles, with one of the largest being that of the Elanemore Island. In 1899, a very large lighthouse was built on Elanemore Island as a way of signaling sailors who were coming into port. Our mystery begins on December 7th, after the new relief comes in order to stock the island with its new set of wikis. I love that word. See, there were 4 workers who worked at the Elanemore Lighthouse year-round, and they worked in 2-week shifts. In other words, there's always 3 people on the island, and every 6 weeks someone gets to take a break, and it rotates like that. So on December 7th, they make their trade. The relief comes to stay on the lighthouse, as the guy who's taking a break is able to go back to shore. So the 3 men within the lighthouse should not come into contact with anyone else for 2 weeks. However, something weird was noted on December 15th whenever a boat that was coming into shore did not see the light from a lighthouse, which is, again, a bad thing. See, lighthouses have to be on all the time when it's night.
Yeah, because the importance is that you need to be able to detect where the shore is, especially when it's nighttime. Sometimes it's hard to see where the distance of the shore is, and it's
because even if it's a perfectly clear night, a ship coming in may not see the island and may hit it, which again, bad thing. So for the lighthouse to not be shining, either those guys are really slacking off or something's wrong. On December 20th, which would have been the normal relief time anyway, a crew tried to go out to the island. However, there was an uncharacteristically thick fog at the time, and they weren't able to go until the 26th. As a matter of fact, on December 7th, whenever those 3 were placed on the island in the first place, there was a mention of a fog beginning to settle in the area. And again, at the 20th, it was so bad that they couldn't even make their way to the island. Whenever the relief boat finally got to the island, they came to the east dock and for one saw that there were several boxes and supplies sitting on the dock that hadn't been brought up to the lighthouse yet.
Oh God.
There was no one to greet them and no
They're
signal
dead as
that
hell.
a ship was coming in. See, lighthouses are always supposed to be on the watch, and there's always someone looking for ships to come off the coast. So if a ship's coming towards you, you're supposed to raise a specific kind of flag in order to indicate it, although that hadn't happened. The relief vessel, thinking this is weird, shoots a flare into the air and sounds the whistle, but no one comes out to greet them. So they decide to send a small search party to shore to see what they can run into, and this is the sight that they find. The fenced-in gate to the front of the lighthouse entrance was closed, as well as the front door of the lighthouse itself. Furthermore, inside the lighthouse itself, every other door was also closed. All of the beds were unmade, and food had been set out as if someone, again, was in the middle of eating and just going about their day. Now, there's also a mention here that all of the clocks were stopped. And while I really wish that was a super creepy thing, as if there's some weird time glitch happening here, the way clocks worked back then is you had to wind them up.
Oh yeah, hand cranking.
That just means no one wound them up in a while. I know we were really close to like time ghost stories, but don't worry, I'll try to make it fun. And among the belongings of the 3 men who were staying at the lighthouse, one of their coats was still present. See, this is on the ocean in northern Scotland in December. There was no way anyone was stepping outside, much less
you gonna be chilling as a motherfucker with that water there.
Work outside without wearing their coat. So the fact that one of the coats was still hung up next to the door implies that someone didn't have intention to go outside when whatever this was happened. So the entire relief party does a huge search and comb over.
It's vampires.
Now, if you remember earlier, I said they arrived at the east dock. Whenever they went to the west dock, they did find some weird stuff. The west dock seemed to have been completely destroyed, with iron bars ripped out of the ground and cracks in the dock itself.
What
and
the
wood thrown
hell?
everywhere. And some reports even saying a giant several 100-pound boulder had been rolled across the dock. Now, while searching everything within the first wiki's logbook of the island, I still love that word, he had mentioned that the west dock did need repairs and there were several broken things. However, from my reading, he didn't say anything to the effect of like the entire dock is destroyed. It was kind of just general repair stuff. So for whatever reason, it seems that the west dock had gotten worse. Keep in mind the contrast between that and the east dock that the crew arrived on, where there were just boxes sitting around everywhere. Within this log that I mentioned a moment ago, there was a day-by-day account of everything that had happened on the island itself. These were general readings of barometric pressure and how many ships were spotted. However, it noted the intense fog that I mentioned earlier, as well as very turbulent weather. Now, here's the thing, right? This island, while yes, off from shore, it isn't like horribly off from shore. As a matter of fact, there was a guy I'm going to mention in a second whose job was to live on his home near the coast and report that he could see the light from the lighthouse every night. So it's close enough to shore that you can make visual contact with it. However, there were no storms reported within this time period. And again, it's right next to shore, so if there were these massive storms that were mentioned in the logbook, someone should have known about it. Remember that guy I said who his entire job was to make sure that he could see the light every night? Well, when he was questioned about it, he said that the fog was so thick that you could only see it on the night of the 12th, and every other night he couldn't even make out the island or the light or anything. And my favorite part about this entire story is the second wiki's log of what had happened. And I know that historically there's been some people who have said there's no way to validate if this is real or not. And I'll be honest, I don't care. This is my favorite part of the story. In the assistant wiki's log, which complemented the main wiki's log that I mentioned earlier, the assistant spoke of how the storms were getting worse and worse by the night. As the official log...
The sea creatures control the weather. The fog is their husky gamer breath, causing a sheer line of coating across the ocean surface. Doritos. You're welcome.
Log was saying that the storms were getting worse. The assistant began to say things like the storm is so bad it's causing all of the men to begin to pray, along with saying that now the men are beginning to cry and they don't know what they're going to do. The last entry of the original logbook was on December the 15th, specifically on 9 a.m. of December 15th, which if you'll remember, the night of December 15th is when the boat that was passing by said the light wasn't on. And also, if the storms were this dramatic, I imagine the boats passing by the island would also have mentioned them. So we can assume that whatever happened to this crew happened within 9 a.m. on December 15th to whenever that ship passed on the same day as well. To which the only entry for December 15th in the second hand's log is storm ended, sea calm, God is over all. And there was never another entry, and the crew of the Elaine Moore Lighthouse were never seen again.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh at that, but like all I could think about is like, yo, the sea's lit, bruh. The fog cleared up. This shit ain't hotbox no more. Big ups, G. That's the actual report, bar for bar. For real? That's what it was. I translated it for y'all. You're welcome.
Alright, so now that I've got all the pieces there, I can put my evil puzzle together. I also want to mention I'm not the only one to make it a weird thing. There are stories within the Flannan Isles that there's these 3 crows that stalk the island, and that those crows are the spirits of these 3 men, or in some cases quite...
That sound like a crow? Did I do it? They're close. Good impression, thank you.
Literally, the men got turned into birds for some reason. The area of the Flannan Isles is notorious for its legends of sea monsters. Several stories of mermaids and sirens that lure men to their death, as well as creatures known as sprites, which I am not kidding, will hop onto your boat and then drown you if you do not beat them in a rhyming duel. So the...
Oh, you gotta spit bars or you dead, bitch. Oh, that goes hard as fuck. Wait, you got a rap battle. And he said, pull up, pussy. It's my ship now. Drown.
These are underwater mermaid things that rap battle you or else they kill you. I don't
That's
even
so
have to add
sick.
anything to that. That speaks for itself. I'm moving on. The story that I love to go with, and the one that terrifies me so much, is perhaps the men were being judged or some form of supernatural occurrence was happening within that fog that settled over the island. Think about it, a fog so thick that no one on the island could see them on shore, and within that fog themselves they reported there being severe thunderstorms that got to the point that they were praying and crying and everything else before he said God is over all, and they all disappeared off the face of the earth. Now, do I believe in that? Probably not, but I really want to. And similar to my Mary Celeste thing, what are you gonna do? Tell me no? That's no fun. See, it's stories like that.
Oh my god, Lighthouse? I wanted to watch this so badly, but I never did. Oh, it's supposed to be super good. It's supposed to be really fucking weird, though. Oh, I want to watch this so bad. I want to watch this so bad. God damn
Mary
it.
Celeste thing, what are you gonna do? Tell me no? That's no fun.
I didn't know it was.
See,
I didn't know the
stories
story
like
was.
that
I didn't know that the story was the inspiration for it, though. That's crazy.
captured the mystique.
That's cool to like. It's cooler to know that backstory going into the movie now too, though.
Of
That's
the
kind of dope.
ocean. Or the idea that no matter how much we discover about it, there's still so many ridiculously unanswered questions that there's never going to be a way for us to bottle it up and then figure out every piece of it. Because just like with the Elaine Moore Lighthouse, how do you naturally explain that? Other than the fact that a giant mist came and settled in, put the men through the trials of God and turbulent storms before they went to the West Dock and the Kraken destroyed it as it dragged the men into the sea. I really don't see what the hang-up with you believing it is. And what's so interesting to me about this is these ideas.
Okay, I love the way he talks. It's really dope. One thing that really distracted me. What are the charms on his bracelet? Does anyone know which charms he has on his bracelet? I used to have charm bracelets growing up, but I just want to know what charms he has because it looked cute. I like it.
Of ghost ships and ocean creatures are by no means anything new. Think of stories like the Flying Dutchman, old legends of ghost ships that would pass you.
Yeah, that's what I know.
Deck, there would be the souls of sailors who have died who asked you to give a message to their loved ones back at home. Isn't that just horrific in like the best way? Or the fact that every old world nation had pictures of giant sea serpents drawn off the map.
Hey, we talked about Kraken Realm last video.
Far off the map, there will be monsters. Or the idea that every religion, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, all of it, have some legend of a giant leviathan that lurks beneath the waters. Or legends like the Kraken. Don't we think it's weird that
I'm so glad he's showing like these kinds of pictures instead of those ones that are like super fucking creepy and realistic of like the sea creatures. I'm so happy he's showing ones like this, like these depictions, because my brain and my body feels so like I feel safe. I feel safe.
For literally hundreds of years, every single civilization had stories of this giant octopus thing that would attack ships and then kill sailors and wreck the ship. And we were all collectively like, haha, weren't those guys idiots? And then, you know, like 30 years ago, we found colossal squids that are like the size of 4 school buses. And we're like, oh, look, they are real. But aren't those stories stupid and fake? Haha, they definitely didn't kill people. In some cases, with things like that, we understand the colossal squid to exist, and we understand them to be ferocious predators. It's almost comforting to think that situations like the Mary Celeste could be caused by something so explainable. It's as if we would be fortunate to wrap our heads around these paranormal instances that occur. And
It's true, because the fear of the unknown is the scariest part about it. So if you don't, I ever told you guys last video that it's like, it's concrete information that makes me feel safe. When it's something that's unknown, it's that fear that perpetuates, because I already have anxiety, okay? So it just feeds my anxiety like a fire, and it's just growing and growing, and I can't stop it, right? And that's what it's like.
I can go into a whole rant now about the Bermuda Triangle. But I'll be honest, that's like surface level stuff. Like, compasses work funny here. Like, we're down here. We're way past that. And way past that, we can get into the modern stories of sea monsters being found. Like, for example, in 1848, there was a British naval ship known as the Daedalus. The entire crew of the Daedalus attested the same story of seeing a 100-foot long massive sea serpent off of the side of their ship. They said it slithered along the side of the ship before diving underwater.
I'm gonna be real with you, Shoddy. You just watched One Piece. You watched One Piece. You saw that shit there. What's it called? Like the calm something. They just went to the wrong place. You know what I'm saying? That's all. Yeah.
There are several drawings and depictions put together of what this creature looked like. And if you think for some reason the entire crew was
The calm
just
belts,
high
you
and
feel
had
me?
no
Yeah.
idea what they're talking about,
A big ass
the
eel or
United
something.
States brig known as the Daphne also saw the exact same thing, and they didn't only see it within the same month. They fired their guns at it and chased it down, saying that it was a giant ocean monster. So you have two different militaries, both full of very experienced crewmen, who one of them shot at it and then tried to run it down. And historians have said that it was probably a whale. I hate that. That makes me more upset than anything.
That's so lame for historians to say that because like these are experienced captains and experienced crewmen. They would know the damn difference between a whale and what they're saying they saw. Like that's so lame of them to discredit them like that. That bothers me. Like ugh. 'Cause it's like you didn't see nothing. Nah.
Whenever there's a story like this, people can't just be like, oh, I guess we'll never know. They give it the stupidest explanation. Like, yeah, 400 experienced crewmen who have, seen every kind of whale imaginable, they were probably just dumber than I am. More recently, during World War I, there were other stories of ocean monsters being found. In 1950, a German U-boat sank a British ship off the coast of Ireland. The British ship was holding explosives, and after it went just beneath the water, the explosive blew up, to which the entire crew of the German U-boat said that they saw what they called a 60-foot crocodile get shot out of the water before landing.
Motherfucker, if this is not something off the coast of Florida, you are a liar and a whore. There's no way. If there's gonna be a 60-foot crocodile, that banana cater's so funny. One Piece homies, for real, for real. No, if that shit ain't off the coast of Florida, you are dead ass a liar and a whore. For real though, that shit
Belly up and then sinking underneath. What is a 60-foot crocodile doing off the coast of Ireland? I don't know, and I don't want to know. Maybe it just ate the crew of the... Florida
has gators, not dials. There's a difference. I don't know the difference. What's the difference between gators and crocodiles?
Flannan Isles Lighthouse. We'll never know. In the same war, in
Their
1918,
name? Okay.
there was a German U-boat that a British ship came across, to which the U-boat was just sitting on top of...
Okay, man, fuck you. Okay, I respected hell saying their name, but then the other motherfucker who goes, different animal, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Now. You guys get one.
the water and immediately surrendered. After the British brought the Germans on board, the captain of the U-boat had said that they were just going about their day when they were attacked by a massive sea monster that destroyed all of their guns and then made them go to the surface, and they surrendered because they were afraid it may come back. Like, there's groups of people seeing monsters, sure, and then there's an entire submarine surrendering to the enemy because they're scared. So with stories like this, you may ask yourself, where did all these things go? If they were so active and attacking ships for hundreds of years, where did they seemingly just disappear to? Well, one of the more popular theories is the idea of vertical migration, or in other words...
See, I was gonna say pollution, so that's my bad.
super predators that we know of, like colossal squids, and again that we know of and we're just okay with them existing, they have been known to dive deeper whenever there is increased traffic around their normal grounds. Or at least we've seen other squid do that and can assume the colossal squid does that.
Because of
we
similar
haven't
patterns
really seen them in the
animals,
wild, which is even more terrifying. So if we know that smaller fish and creatures in the ocean dive down if there's a bunch of stuff around where they're at, then what's to say that these massive super predators wouldn't do the same with increased traffic along waters? In 2003, a group of researchers pinned a tag on a great white shark which was about 9 feet long. The purpose of this was to observe migration routes and where the shark went along its journey. However, years later, they found the tag just washed up on shore somewhere. This was weird, so
Okay, so the tag did not serve the purpose that we needed.
Whenever they analyzed the tag, which is pretty much a black box, they could see that the shark was just going about his day before immediately getting sucked to 1,600 feet below sea level at breakneck speeds, way faster than something a great white shark can pull off diving straight down, implying that something took said shark and then brought it down to where the big boys play at. I spoke of something in my conspiracy theory iceberg series known as the ocean at night theory. Short version is essentially they made this giant thermal reactor and set it on the ocean as a means of cooling it, but what it accidentally caused was a bunch of super predators to swim up to the surface, which led to a theoretically like Cthulhu-sized creature attacking a group of researchers and militaries, which is comforting. But if massive creatures, and some of which we know to exist, have gone underwater in order to get away from us, then what's to say they can't get the courage to come back up? Their ships such as the US...
Oh, the song they're playing is, what would you do with the drunken sailor? What would you do with the drunken sailor? What would you do with the drunken sailor? Early in the morning, who ain't up, she rises, who ain't up, she rises, who ain't up, she rises, early in the morning. That's the sound playing in the background. It was video. Thank you.
SS Scorpion, which is an American submarine that completely disappeared in 1968 before pieces were found of it shredded at the bottom of the ocean, about 9,000 feet down. And it itself was only one of 4 submarines that completely went missing in 1968. There are more famous things such as the bloop, which was an underwater sound that was recorded across microphones about 3,000 miles apart, implying that whatever made the noise was way bigger than anything currently on our books, as well as all your general horrors about the ocean. There are countless stories of sailors
No
who had
bloops
spent
for
long time
me.
at sea, seeing the ghost of people walk
The name Bloop sounds so cute. Why is it so
across
scary?
their ships, or stories of men who sit on the back of the ships at night, how they can hear singing from somewhere out across the waters. When you think of the number of people that have died in the ocean, and if you're someone who believes in the idea of haunted locations, how could there not be a more haunted and infested poltergeist than the seas themselves? There's also stories like the island of Bemaha, which is off the coast of Mexico and just disappeared. Like, this island had been charted on maps ever since the 16th century. It was a known fact that the island was right there off of the
Oh my god, there's literally an island eater down there. There's literally a fucking island eater down there. Oh my god. Oh my god,
Peninsula,
no.
and
Nope.
everyone knew about it,
Nope.
and it was even marked as recently as
Nope.
1921. Then
Nope.
in 1997, whenever Mexico was making land deals with the United States, they said that they wanted that island, and whenever they went to like put a stake on it, they couldn't find it, and they're like, huh, that's weird. We should probably look into that. So then in 2009, they launched a full-scale search for this island, to which they determined that after hundreds of years, it just doesn't exist. Which, when you think of the ocean as being so massive that things like islands can just be there and then they can't, that is awful, and I hate it. But the seas are not only horrific for the missing persons that I've talked about earlier, and ocean monsters and ghosts and things of the like, but in a purely physical sense, they are a testament to the uselessness of humanity. Concepts such as the island of Atlantis, which it's believed by many modern historians that perhaps it was a city that sunk beneath the waves off the coast of Greece, have always stuck with people because ideas of something as important as a city to us being completely overtaken by the waves in nature is almost appalling. Whenever I think of tales like Atlantis, it reminds me of a post-apocalypse, the idea of nature reclaiming what man built no matter how much effort we put into it. There's a specific horror associated with the ocean, which I have in small spurts, known as submechanophobia, which is the fear of man-made structures beneath the water. The reason that this is so terrifying to me is because it honestly encapsulates everything that I've talked about up until this point. And that is the idea of the ocean having absolutely zero regard for you. Think about this. Any other scenario, being lost in the woods, being stuck in the middle of the desert, whatever, you still have your legs, you still have your sight, you still
I
have the
can't, bro.
ability
Why
to-
is he getting so descriptive, bro? We get it. It's scary, bro. We get it. We get it. You don't need to explain it further. You don't need to explain it further. Why? He's so descriptive. He speaks so eloquently. Bro, you don't don't need to start talking so fancy. I like it when you do it, but not when it's ocean stuff. Oh no.
Move. However, the ocean does not care that we are in no way adapted to it, and that any second that we spend in it without some man-made creation is completely at its mercy. But in the same regard, the ocean doesn't really care about our understanding of it.
No.
It seems in a sort of...
He's fucking great, okay? Don't get me wrong. But I'm a scared little pussy-ass bitch, okay? And that's why I'm like, I love what you do, but please spare me. Spare me.
of mystic way with stories like the Flannan Isles Lighthouse or the crew of the Mary Celeste, that people can simply be plucked off the earth and were never given an explanation otherwise. But not only does the ocean not care about you or it care about our reasoning, it doesn't care about our monuments either. Whenever you look at images of submechanophobia and you see these great things that we built, however big or small, sentimental or otherwise, and you see them beneath the water, there's this destitute sense of something being forgotten. It's like no matter what level of sentimental nature we apply to something, as always, the ocean just doesn't care. And it almost creates this sort of weird liminal space that while we're looking at it and we want there to be some sense of cherishness or memory or just something sacred, there isn't any. Roughly 9% of species within the ocean are officially logged as to where they fit onto a larger tree, and about 20% of the ocean is charted. That means 80% of the single largest body on the entire planet is a complete mystery.
No, that's great. That's so great. So great. I love that.
As with
I love that. Oh, it's so fun.
Many of the events that take place on and within it. Within the Marianas Trench, it is so deep that you can take the entirety of Mount Everest, put it at the bottom, and you would still have a mile to go before you reach surface. Think about that. The single largest thing that we can comprehend and the largest structure that we could ever imagine on land.
Yeah.
The ocean will take all of it and bury it so deep that we would never have known otherwise if it had done so in the first place. And this is what I meant by the beginning, that it is so absolutely terrifying that there's almost a romance to it. It is wrong in every single sense that something should be wrong. It's inhuman, it's unreasonable, and it's uncaring. And it's for that reason I love stories so much of men who brave the seas and sailors and skippers and everyone else who go out into that infinite nothingness. Like, there's people who think that space is scary. I mean, you can see in space. In the ocean, it's quite literally infinite nothingness, and it doesn't even give you the courtesy of being allowed to see the infinite. And that's what's so terrifying about it, the idea of absolute abyss all around you. Whenever I tell someone I'm afraid of the ocean, a lot of them have a follow-up of, oh, do you not like sharks? Or, oh, do you not like insert some other generic creepy animal? And as a matter of fact, something like sharks would be comforting. Because while it would be terrifying if, you know, I was in the water and about to die, for sure, if I'm in the water and I see something like a shark, that is something tangible, something I can comprehend. But the idea of just a foreverness that won't even give me the courtesy of seeing, standing, or breathing within it, that's more horrific than I could ever imagine. And yet I don't have to imagine it because it's right there and it's as real and as terrible as it possibly could be.
Right
For Halloween, I wanted to talk about something scary, and there is nothing more scary to me than the concept of the infinite that is finite. For Halloween, when a time that we're all talking about what scares us and what gets us afraid, I wanted to not only tell you these stories but go in depth with some of my feelings towards it near the end in order to get the point across to you why I feel the sea is both infinite in its majesty and its terror, and that there is nothing in our imaginations that can be both as beautiful and as dreadful as that of the abyss. So hopefully, if you weren't afraid of that upcoming family vacation before, I hope that you definitely are now. But what I hope even more is that you enjoyed the video, that you have a happy Halloween, and thank you for watching. Like I said, it was Halloween. I wanted to talk about the thing that's the spookiest and scariest to me. And as I hopefully got my point across in the past hour and a half of recording, I don't know how long this is going to cut down to. Hopefully I got that point across to you. So thank you so much for watching. If you're new here to this channel, there's been a lot of new people lately. hello, hi, thank you so much for coming, and thank you for sticking around this long if you have,
Holy
this late in the
shit.
video. It means a lot. You are fantastic, and thank you for coming here. I love all of my viewers. You guys are great, and you give me the ability to do this, and it means
Oh, he's
the
such a
most.
sweetheart. I love him.
And I feel like October's been great. Not only has it been such a fantastic month for growth on the channel and just meeting and talking to so many lovely new people, I've also been able to really dive into a lot of the content I want to get into.
I'm so happy for him. He's fantastic. he's he's fantastic. Yeah, the link to his original videos in the description below. Please go support him and his channel. Like, whenever it comes to me reacting to content, supporting the original creators means the world to me. So please do that. And also, of course, support this channel too and stick around for daily uploads. But yeah, just another incredible video by Wendigoon, and I'm excited to keep diving into more of his stuff, even though it scares the fuck out of me. But goddamn, his lecturing just feels so engaging, and he's so great. And yeah, definitely one of my favorite creators I've been watching so far recently that we've been jumping into. Definitely, because like he keeps things so engaging without the need of a bunch of utilization of like I'm somebody who's not really into flashy editing or into like sort of like overwhelming cuts and stuff like that. I like somebody who can present information in a very compelling way without doing that kind of stuff. Maybe it's because I'm just getting older. But that's the reason why like for a lot of my videos, we don't really do a lot of editing in the middle of it or anything because I just like the idea of something being a free flowing conversation. I like a feeling like you're joining me along like on a stream, which a lot of this is from a stream cuts that I do. And it's cool to see other creators who are like very similar styled in their content creation where they don't do like a lot of hyper editing or anything. It's just like lecturing, getting their point across, keeping it super compelling with their writing and narrative. And I just absolutely love it. He's a fantastic channel and creator. Anyways, thanks so much for watching. Thanks for diving into this fear with me. Fuck, I hate the ocean. And you know what? Thanks for making me just as terrified as I normally am. I appreciate it. I'll catch y'all later. Thanks for your love and support here on YouTube, and we'll see you next time. Bye!